coming in. Trump has now threatened Apple with 25% tariff. Trump has said, I have long ago informed Tim Cook of Apple that I expect their iPhones that will be sold in the United States of America will be manufactured and built in the United States and not India or any place. And if that's not the case, then there will be a tariff of at least 25% must be paid by Apple to the US. A new announcement has now been added that adds to Apple's struggles with the uncertain business environment, which is widely attributed now to US President Donald Trump's repeated calls to shift the iPhone makers' production capacities to the United States. Reviewers remember the Apple shares also fell on track for their 7th straight negative session after underperforming again on Wednesday. The fall is attributed to the announcement of its acquisitions. The firm was founded. However, the biggest blow now coming from Donald Trump, who is now telling Apple that the only way they'll be able to get away from a tariff is if these phones are back in US. And this is Trump's warning to Apple. He's desperate. He wants Apple back in the United States. He tells Apple to stop manufacturing in India. Apple's India production, remember, grew 60% in 2024-25. US President makes it clear he's not happy with the move. He speaks and he says, I have a little problem with this. And he says India can take care, remember, of themselves earlier. But why is Trump so bothered about Apple's plans? Well, one of the key reasons is that he believes the Make America Great Again campaign includes a focus on producing goods within the country. Let me go across to my colleague Krutharth. Krutharth, I think it's once again a blow to Apple because President Trump is keen on making life difficult for them and also clearly telling them that you have to be back in America. Do not have your production base in India.
Indeed, and Rhythm, this is a very significant development because remember, earlier in the month of May, during the second quarter meeting, Tim Cook, who is the CEO of Apple, had announced that nearly 80 to 90% of all iPhones that will be sold in the United States of America will be now made in India. In fact, Foxconn has also announced nearly $500 billion and even $900 million of investment coming into India. So there's millions and billions of dollars have been poured in by Apple to decentralize the supply chains from China after the China Plus One policy was adopted in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, following which most of the iPhones from 2017 onwards, in fact, have begun production in India. And in FY 24-25, there was almost $22 billion worth of assembly of iPhones that was scheduled to take place in India. So because of this announcement that was made earlier in the month of May, Donald Trump had also threatened this similar line of tariffs on Apple last week when he was meeting all the top CEOs in Saudi Arabia and during his tour of Middle East, when he particularly singled out India and other countries manufacturing for Apple. So it's not just directed at India. However, India is the biggest manufacturer for iPhones in the United States. The 25% number is very interesting. As per analysts, if Apple was to move back all the manufacturing of iPhones back into the United States, the cost would escalate as much as 25%. So now to set off that offset barrier, Trump has also now significantly said that, okay, I will increase the tariffs on India-made iPhones, which or any iPhones that Apple is making outside of America, and impose a 25% tariff, making it impossible, basically, or the same level playing field if the iPhones were made in the United States. So this is a desperate bid by Donald Trump to bring back iPhone manufacturing back to the United States with a fresh threat now of 25% tariffs to be imposed on Apple.
Thank you for giving us those details. It's a top focus that will be continue tracking with the woes of Tim Cook being increased by Donald Trump.